Stories. What makes for a great story? Maybe it captures your attention. Maybe it keeps you interested. Maybe it draws you in. Perhaps it resonates with you so that you connect with the story. It might be that you create a bond between you and the storyteller. Maybe it's all of these things. If we think about some of those greatest stories that have ever been told, we might think about classic novels like the Da Vinci Code, the Harry Potter series, The Killer Mockingbird, or Lord of the Rings. We might also think of era-defining movies, the likes of Star Wars, The Godfather, Back to the Future, or the Matrix trilogy. These and many other great stories follow a consistent format or structure. Now we call this structure the dynamic arc or Freytag's pyramid. The reason it's Freytag's pyramid is because it was named after the German playwright and novelist Gustav Freytag. Now Freytag studied the structure of countless stories, those stories that had stood the test of time, that were shared from generation to generation. Why were some stories shared whilst others were lost into time? Well, those that were shared followed a common structure, and this we now refer to as Freytag's pyramid. Now, we can apply Freytag's structure to improve the stories we want to tell our buyers, the dealer staff, or even end users, making our stories more engaging, but ultimately more shareable. Now let's explore some film examples using Freytag's structure to help us understand how this works. You may want to jump onto YouTube and remind yourself of these movie opening sequences. I've got some links for you that we have as an additional file in Showpad. Let us start with Back to the Future. Now Back to the Future follows an orthodox approach to Freytag's pyramid. After a short comedy scene with a giant guitar speaker, the film opens with the backstory around Marty McFly, played by Michael J. Fox, his girlfriend Jennifer Parker, and the rest of the McFly family. We get a sense of the dissatisfaction with life at the McFly household, and therefore the need for Marty to change things. Now remember, all great stories need a conflict of some sort to resolve. After the exposition, we arrive at the inciting incident, which in this case is the shooting of Doc Brown by Libyan terrorists in a shopping mall car park, at which point Marty jumps into the DeLorean, and at this point the adventure begins. In order to grab and grip an audience at the outset, many stories start with an inciting incident, only to go back and tell the exposition or the backstory afterwards. So let's wind the clock back to 1977. Star Wars, A New Hope. The movie starts with Darth Vader's Imperial ship capturing and boarding a rebel ship. This has just escaped with the stolen plans for the Death Star. Within seconds, we're drawn into a battle scene between stormtroopers and the rebel fighters, who are desperately trying to protect their cargo, Princess Leia, and the stolen plans. As the action scene draws to a close and Leia is captured, the two droids, R2-D2, CP-3O, they escape in a small craft and head to the planet Tatooine, where they will go on to meet Luke Skywalker, the movie's hero. This is the point at which the story jumps back to the exposition, introducing the characters and setting the scene with all the background stories. In 1999, The Matrix appeared. The opening scene is of Trinity, cornered by the police in an abandoned hotel. She performs a series of superhuman maneuvers, only to be met by a group of sinister-looking, black-suited agents. After the mother of all fight scenes and chase sequences, she answers a ringing public telephone and vanishes. What the hell just happened? Asked most people's wives whilst watching it with their husbands. I don't know, but I love it, most of us replied. So that was an inciting incident. Next, the story focuses on our hero or our protagonist, Neo, and starts backfilling the story. Okay, so let us explore Freytag's pyramid in a bit more detail. Step 1, the exposition. This sets the scene. The writer introduces the characters, the setting, and provides a description or a background to the story. Then we have step 2, the inciting incident. Something happens to begin the action. A single event usually signals the beginning of the main conflict. We think of Star Wars. Luke's uncle and auntie are killed by stormtroopers, resulting in him leaving the planet Tatooine with Obi-Wan Kenobi. In The Matrix, our inciting incident is Neo deciding to take the red pill and not the blue pill, and his journey begins. Number 3, our next phase of a great story is rising action. The story is progressively building and getting more and more exciting. In Back to the Future, this is Marty getting himself increasingly tangled in this spiral mess of his future self's life. In Star Wars, this is the rescue perhaps of Princess Leia on the Death Star and the associated battles. The peak of Freytag's pyramid and the most significant part of the story is the climax. And this is the moment of the greatest tension in the story. It often follows what appears to be an insurmountable obstacle or challenge for our hero, and this is that moment of truth. In Star Wars, this is Luke Skywalker versus the Death Star in his X-Wing fighter. In The Matrix, this is Neo head-to-head with an agent for the first time. For Marty McFly, this is the one and only chance to capture that lightning bolt and get back to his time. Our hearts are in our mouths and we are transfixed to the action at the climax. Number 5, whilst we have now beat the odds and achieved the unachievable, if the film credits were to roll now, at this point we'd be asking ourselves a lot of questions like, what happened to Neo? Or what happened to Luke and the McFly family? We might also be so pumped up that we'd all be fighting in the cinema lobby. We therefore have to do a bit of housekeeping, a little bit of cleaning up, if you will, for the story. But that said, after a climax, we really want to get out of this story pretty quickly. So the following 3 steps should be delivered in relatively quick succession. Stage 5. We call this falling action. It's a summary of events that happen as a result of the climax. And we know at this point the story is coming to an end. Stage 6 is our resolution. This is where the character solves the main problem or conflict, or someone solves it for him or her. At that point in the story, Neo knows he is the chosen one. And lastly, stage 7, denouement, a French term meaning the ending. At this point, pretty much any remaining questions or secrets or mysteries around the story are eventually resolved and the character is explained by the story. Sometimes the author leaves us to think about the future. Maybe we might think about the future possibilities of a character that we see in these closing scenes. So in Back to the Future, Marty and Jennifer leave in the DeLorean again with Doc Brown into the future to find out about their kids. In The Matrix, Neo leaves a phone box and starts flying, accompanied of course by Rage Against the Machine. What a soundtrack that was. So that's it in a nutshell. That's what makes a great story. Now remember, stories were around a long time before books, films or Freytag's pyramid, but stories that followed this structure have stood the test of time. Okay, now let's adapt it to fit the types of stories we as sales professionals might want to tell. Step 1, create intrigue. Make me interested in what you have to share. Step 2, action to get my attention. Think fight scene from Star Wars or The Matrix. Hit me between the eyes with your story. Step 3, set the scene, the exposition. Explain what problem we're trying to solve and why. Step 4, tension builds to a climax. We battle with obstacles and challenges to solve our problem, seemingly insurmountable problems. Step 5, we resolve it. We fix it and the world is now a better place. And when we think of our great stories like Star Wars or The Matrix, the lead characters change as a result of the journey they go on. So too with the hero in your stories. Okay, let's do it. Let's build some stories. Step 1, intrigue. What if we could generate €300 of repeat spend for every V-Drum customer you have ever had? What if we could increase the average spend of your piano customers by 15%? What would that do to your annual turnover? What if I could increase your Roland margin by 5%? What if I could help you stop sales leakage to Amazon? Now, many dealers will be suspicious about what you're about to say, but you are likely to get their attention. Step 2, action to get my attention. Do you know, much of what we learnt about headphones in Roland was wrong. The opportunity was not monitoring for musicians. Money is dripping through the fingers of bricks and mortar music stores every single day all across Europe. This money is only being caught by the buckets of Amazon, Thomann, Gear for Music, and a handful of other strong online resellers. When a piano customer spends €1,000 when they could have spent €1,500, is that success or is that failure? Drummers having a poor monitoring experience are playing less, they're not getting better, and they're not creating new sales opportunities for you. Step 3, let's set the scene, the exposition. Tell dealers about the market size of small guitar amps. Remind dealers of the new product categories Roland and Boss have created in the past. Share the background to the needs in the market we are striving to fulfill. Educate dealers to the rationale of hybrid drums being a gateway into digital drums for many acoustic drummers. Step 4, tension builds to a climax. When Roland formed a strategic alliance with V-Moda, we didn't just gain access to some of the most popular premium headphones in the market. We also learned where the sales opportunity for headphones really was. Did you know the combined sales of electric guitars, synthesizers, drums, digital drums, pianos, acoustic guitars, all wrapped up, is still less than the consumer headphone market? Yet few of the world's best-selling consumer headphones can be found anywhere in music dealer stores today. Today we have an opportunity like no other opportunity a company is presenting you with right now. An opportunity so great it has the potential to double your turnover. Here's another one. Do you think footfall or traffic into bricks and mortar stores is likely to increase in the years to come? Or is it more likely to fall? Yet we still fail to maximize every sales opportunity that comes into stores. We still let customers leave without buying, and those that buy, we let them leave without a matching cable, a gig bag, headphones or pedals. For bricks and mortar stores to be viable in the future, we must seek to convert every single customer that comes into your store, and we should maximize their spend too. Let me give you one more example. For many piano customers, the purchase of a digital piano is a once-in-a-lifetime purchase. Yet the best-selling digital pianos in the market are cheaper, lower-end models. These have lesser features, poorer speaker systems, and limited sound options. Why would a customer want to buy those? Did they want to buy the worst piano in the range? Is that all that customer could afford when they arrived in a BMW or a Mercedes? Did they want the cheapest model? Step 5 is about resolving the solution. So let me tell you about how Roland and Boss accessories will not only generate new income for you, but be essential to the viability of bricks and mortar shops in the future. Here's another resolution. So let me show you how Roland pianos can help you increase the average spend of piano customers. Bearing in mind these are once-in-a-lifetime customers in many instances. Okay, I'm now going to wrap all of this together and give you one example for a V-moder. So, step 1, intrigue. Today is Veni, Vidi, Vici Day. You'll need to make a note of this in your diary, Mr. Dealer, because you will want to look back on this conversation. Step 2, action. Did you know that if you added up the global sales of acoustic guitars, electric guitars, basses, guitar effects, drums, pianos, synthesizers, computer music, microphones and amplifiers, you know they're still less than the global sales of headphones? Well, on that basis, we could be doubling your total sales with just headphones. Exposition and backstory. Now you stock headphones, so are your headphone sales greater than all of those other categories put together? No? Why? Well, for the very same reason Roland had to work with V-moder to crack this market. The real potential for headphones is not headphones for musicians to monitor their instruments or do a final mix. It's about headphones to listen to Spotify, Apple Music, podcasts or your MP3 collection whilst going about your daily business, going to the gym, being on a bus, train, tram or car. And simultaneously, you might also be answering the telephone. In fact, the mass market wear headphones and they're less interested in that flat response that we often talk about in MI stores. Do you know who the #1 camera manufacturer is in the world? It's not Canon, it's not Nikon, Pentax, Fuji, Olympus, it's not even Sony, it's Apple. And Apple are very clear that the iPhone is a camera. And that is evident by the focus of all its advertising at the moment. Shot on an iPhone. It's on billboards all over the world. They're not saying in their adverts, this is the best mobile phone on the planet. Did specialist camera stores stock and promote the iPhone? No. They deemed it non-specialist. The camera is just a phone feature. It's not a real camera. Well, the iPhone 7 Plus costs €900 and it's upgraded every 2 years on average. Most €900 cameras last for 5 or 10 years. Now, the specialist camera retail sector failed to align itself with the market and what the mass market actually wanted. In fact, in the UK, the #1 specialist camera retailer has gone into administration twice. Right now, the music industry is being served an opportunity. One which we'll look back on with hindsight at this moment and judge whether we made the right or the wrong decision for our business. The rewards are enormous, doubling your business. And the investment required to make this happen is minuscule. It's tiny compared to the investment into a drum, piano or guitar department. What can we do by focusing on lifestyle headphones? We can increase the frequency that people visit our store when they replace and they upgrade. A lifestyle headphone can be bought multiple times to align with current habits of now going to the gym or current styles. We can increase wallet share of existing customers. We can keep more of this business in MI stores rather than the CE channel. In fact, we can attract CE customers into our MI stores as well. Perhaps partners or friends who are accompanying musicians will also have something to buy when they're in your stores. Resolution. So let me tell you how V-Moda can help you get there and how they cracked the lifestyle market in the USA. Okay, there we go. So where can you tell stories? In store to staff, to your dealer buyers, on a dealer's blog, on a dealer's social media or YouTube video, by doing an Instagram or a Facebook live broadcast. What types of stories can we tell? Many. Products, the why, the what and the how of our great product releases this year. We could do stories about history, the heritage and the legacy of Roland and Boss products over the years. 40 years of Boss Compacts this year. The countless product categories we have established and the music genres our products have created. We can tell stories about technology, our unique technologies and the solutions that it gives musicians and performers. We can tell stories about Roland value, the unique ways in which we support our dealer network. Okay, to wrap up, we're going to remind you now of the model that we want you to use to create some of your own stories. Step 1, create intrigue. Make me interested in what you have to share. Step 2, action. Get my attention. Think fight scene from Star Wars or The Matrix. Hit me between the eyes with your story. Step 3, set the scene, the exposition. Explain the problem we are resolving and why. Step 4, tension builds to a climax. We battle with obstacles and challenges to solve our problem. These problems are seemingly insurmountable, but we get there. Step 5, we resolve it. We fix it, and the world is now a better place. And when we think of great stories like Star Wars and The Matrix, our lead characters change as a result of the story they go on. So too will the hero in your story change. Okay, it's over to you now. It's your turn. I'd like you to have a go at creating some great stories using this model. Share your stories with us so we can all learn from one another. Happy storytelling.